Hari Om. Start with the prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pitatvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakhatvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are now looking at who is the Jiivanmkukta, and it's based on the Gita slokas and also in many of the Upanishads also. A characteristic of a Jiivanmkukta has been discussed, and one who has Jiivanmkukta has accomplished the very life purpose itself. So what is the purpose of life? People keep asking, what is the purpose of life? Purpose of life is to recognize that I am beyond the life itself. I am the Sachidananda Swarupam that pervades everywhere. So therefore the very life purpose is fulfilled once I recognize that I am the Brahman, and therefore the whole life itself is not only this life but life after life. The whole punya palam or the merits of the whole life is fructified once one recognizes that I am the totality itself, and it's not going somewhere, it's not doing something, or different lokas or liberation or freedom or nirvana. All those things are being used, but here a recognition that right now and right here, because anything else depends upon the time and space, and that which is desha kala vastu parichinnatvam cannot be moksha. So going somewhere in the Vaikuntha or Kailasa, where you only one part of the whole universe there, with the different people and different so on, there is a hierarchy of the system. We are only transporting the problems here to a different problem. So to say that there won't be any problem there because you are near Vaikuntha is only one aspect, but any duality causes a fear is a statement of the scriptures. Ditiyadvai bhayam bhavati udara mantaram kurute adadasya bhayam bhavati. A speck of difference is going to be a problem. So moksha should be a freedom from the limitations of the space, limitations of the time, and limitations of object-wise, means any duality. And therefore that who has accomplished, therefore it can only be right now and right here. Right now is beyond the time, because now is where the past is meeting the future, and the gap can be as small today or this hour, this second, and this microsecond, this picosecond. I keep dividing until the present itself disappears. What is there is only my presence, the one who is dividing, and he cannot disappear because he is the one who is eternal. And that recognition that I am beyond the time itself, because the past is gone and the future hasn't come, and the present itself has no existence. What is existence? Is only the existence itself in the form of my own presence, and that is recognition, and that is moksha. So moksha is freedom from the time-wise, space-wise, object-wise limitations, and therefore it is infinite, and that is Aham Brahmasmi, has to be recognized. Not that I am going to become Brahman, I am already Brahman, but I don't take myself I am Brahman because I identify myself with the local BMI as I am this, and I am this is what we call is the ego, and because of the ahankara comes because of the ignorance only. I take myself what I am not as I am, that is ahankara, because I am equal to this, instead of I am equal to Brahman. And that knowledge of recognizing my own true nature is not becoming something, but it's a recognition or realization of my true nature. That's what essentially self-realization is. Nothing but self that I am is same as the Brahman, the total. And the scriptures glorifies that Mahatma, and Kulam Pavitram Janani Krutartha Viswambara Punyavati Chatena Apara Sambit Sakasagaresmin Leenam Pare Brahmani Yasya Chetaha, whose mind is completely leenam, who's dissolved into Brahman, and his whole the dynasty or his kulam itself is pavitram, is purified by his presence. And Janani Krutartha, the mother is blessed because of such a son. And Vishwambara Punyavati Tena, Vishwambara, the Vishwam itself is clothed by his punyam, and that is because of whose presence itself is like a cloth protection of the Vishwam itself, universe itself. Apara Sambit Sugasagaresmin. This Sambit, that I am pure consciousness, is aparam, is infinite, and Sukasagaram, and it is the nature of the Ananda Swarupa, ocean of Ananda, and Linam Pare Brahmani Yasya Chetasaha, and whose mind is absorbed in the Brahmani, in the total. Absorbed means recognition by the mind that I am the total. That includes the mind also, because mind is nothing but a product of the Mithya product of the Ishvara or of Brahman only. And we'll take some more slokas. We won't take all the slokas of the Vivekachudamani, only select the slokas that describes and who is essentially a Jiivanmkukta. We'll now take 427. Sita prajño yatirayam yaha sadananda mashnute brahman yeva vilinatma nirvikaro vinishkriyaha. Sita prajño yatirayam yaha sadananda mashnute brahman yeva vilinatma nirvikaro vinishkriyaha. So sita prajñaha yataha ayam yataha sita prajñaha yaha sadananda mashnute. The one who is Sadananda, and that who is always happy and enjoys himself the happiness all the time in spite of dukkeshu anudvignamanaha sukeshu vigata spruha vitaraga bhayakrodaha sitadhihi. His mind is established in spite of all transactional, the ups and downs in the life, because they are only mithya, is understood as a mithya. So now yaha sadanandam ashnuti, the one who enjoys it, and brahmani eva vilinatma nirvikaraha vinishkyaha. So vilina atma is here referred to the mind. So mind brahmani eva vilinaha. So it is merged as though into the Brahman. Means recognition that I am the Brahman arises in the mind, and that Brahman I am is nirvikaraha, is no actions at all from the point of Brahman. Why? Because Brahman being infinite cannot perform action. Action involves a triputty or the triad, that is karta, karma, kriya. Actor, action and acting. And that division itself is not there because Brahman is divisionless. So when I recognize that I am Brahman, I also recognize that I am not a doer. So then who is a doer? Not that the actions will be stopping, only a recognition that I am a doer in spite of the actions. And that's what Krishna calls Prakrutsevasa karmani kriyamanani sarvasaha yah pasyati tadatmanam akartayam sapasyati. Yes, Prakriti evacha karmani sarvani. All actions are being done by the Prakriti itself. Prakriti includes the body, mind and intellect. Bhumirapo nalo vayu kammano buddhi revacha ahankara mediyam bhinna prakriti ashtada. This ashtada prakriti is a lower, that's in the 7th chapter of Gita. Krishna says this eightfold nature of prakriti, that includes the mind, intellect and ahankara, all are part of the prakriti only. And prakriti will be performing, but I am not performing. So it's apareyamitasanyam prakritim vidhimi param, and I am that which is beyond this prakriti, but enlivens the prakriti. Prakriti by itself is inert, but through Chidabhasa, by reflected consciousness, Prakriti became active as though, and Prakriti is same as Maya. Mayantu Prakriti Vidyat. Mainantu Maheshwaram. In the Svetaswara Upanishad, it says Maya is nothing but Prakriti, and Prakriti performs all actions. And then Ahak Akartaham said, I am not a doer, so Prakriti Chevacha Karmani Kriyamanani Sarvashaha. So Yah Pasyati Tad Atmanam Akartaram Sapasyati. One who knows or sees means one who knows that I am not a doer, and he is in fact is the Jiivanmkukta. And here emphasize Sita Prajnoyati Rayam Yah Sadananda Masnuti Brahman Yeva Vilin Atma Nirvikaro Vinishkriyaha. So it says my name there, Sadananda. So just for a fun, when I met first time Swami Chinmayananda, and he asked me to meet him when I wrote a letter, and he asked me to meet him in the university in the Pittsburgh, where the University of Pittsburgh they were having a yajna. On the first day of yajna, there was inauguration, and Swamiji happened to sit next to me, and I introduced myself as Swamiji, I am Sadananda, because I already wrote a letter to him. And he burst out laughing. He said, ha 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 ha, you are Sadananda, I am Chinmayananda, he said. So anyway, that is Sadananda includes Sat plus Ananda, Sadananda also. Sat means existence plus the happiness, and he is Chinmayananda, Chit plus happiness, because the Prajnanam Brahma, consciousness is Brahman, and Brahman is limitless. Limitless is Anantameva Anandam. So therefore, neither way it is the pure consciousness that I am is always happy because it's limitless and infinite, and that I recognize myself, I am that. So Ananda is not a reflected Ananda, as in the case of Anandamaya Kosha. We discussed about Anandamaya Kosha. Anandamaya Kosha comes into picture whenever the mind is folded or whenever the mind is not agitated. That means whenever the desire is fulfilled, my mind becomes a calm and quiet in those moments. At that time, Ananda reflection is also seen or felt. That means one feels happy depending upon the intensity of the quietness of the mind. And same quietness of the mind occurs when I go to deep sleep state. Not that I have become a jnani. There the mind is folded because it's too tired. Therefore it is get folded, and therefore it is quiet where there is no, the subject-object duality is not there. Nakanchana kamam kamayata. That's how the Mundaka Upanishad describes the deep sleep state, where there is no desire for object, because objects are not seen, and there is no desire also in the mind also folded. There is no subject, there is no object. Only what is there is akhanda ajnana vritti, that where constant I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. That's what will be there, because when you ask, when you get up, hey, what did you do? I slept very well. So what was there? How do you know you slept very well? I don't know anything, but I slept very well. So I don't know is constant. Ajnana, the vritti is akhandam. It's not I don't know this, I don't know that. It is I don't know, period. So I don't know is continuous vritti, thought as though arising in the mind, undifferentiated thought of I don't know. This modification of the vritti here called modification of the mind. The modification of the mind is folding of the mind itself, is a modification from being active. It is now folded. So that modification is called vritti, and that vritti is continuous in the deep sleep state, and therefore is a reflection of the, whenever the mind is calm and quiet, there is a reflection of the ananda, where it is absence of suffering is felt as ananda there, and that's what is the Anandamaya Kosha. But Anandamaya, the Purna Anandam here, Sadanandam or Chinmayanandam, is that which is pure because of recognition that it is my Swarupam. It's not a reflected Ananda, it is the Swarupa Ananda. Swarupam is, we have to recognize that it is my intrinsic nature. So what is Swarupa Lakshanam? What is the Tatastha Lakshanam? And what is the other Lakshanas, Visheshanas? And this is not a Visheshanam, and that's how people argue, other Acharya, that such Satchit Ananda is Visheshanas of Brahman. They are not Visheshanas, because being Anantam, being infinite, Because Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam Brahma, being Anantam, it cannot have Visheshanas. Why? Because only finite can have Visheshanas, attributes, and infinite cannot have attributes because it is Akhandam. That's not even a Visheshana. Infinite is not a Visheshana. Infinite is only, it's not finite because no words can reach there. So, Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha na vagachati na manaha. So all these things are stated that because it's not a descriptive, therefore mind cannot reach or the speech cannot reach. But the scriptures are describing it, but describing it, pointing out, it's not something that you are experiencing. It is adrisyam agrahyam agotram avarnam atachusotram padapani padam nityam vibhu sarvagatam susuksham yadbhuta yonim paripasyanti dhiraha. It is not seen, it cannot be felt, it cannot, only negative definitions of that is being defined because it's not something that you can compare it with or quantify it or qualify it. Therefore, only objects can be having a Visheshana. In the Visheshanas, there are two types of Visheshanas. One is called the necessary, the attributes. Some are incidental attributes. They are called Tatastha Lakshana. Tatastha Lakshana we defined as, that house where crow is sitting there, and that is Rama Rao's house. So crow happened to sit there because all houses are looking similar. It's different. It's difficult to differentiate which is Rama Rao's house. But now crow is sitting on top of it. I can use that crow as a differentiating factor to identify the Rama Rao's house. But next time don't ask wherever crow sits, it's not Rama Rao's house. It so happened, it's called Tatastha Lakshanam, incidental qualification. That is, the pot sitting on the table, please bring it. Not that pot always sits on the table. So this is an incidental called the Samyoga Sambandha. Contact relationship is only established, and that is one kind of the quality. The second kind of quality is intrinsic nature, in the sense that they are swabhavikam, but in the swabhavikam there are two types. One is necessary and another is necessary and sufficient also. So necessary, we gave example of sugar is sweet, and sweetness is a necessary qualification for it to be a sugar. But if it looks like a sugar and is not sweet, then it's not sugar. So therefore it is a necessary that sugar has to be sweet. But that's not sufficient qualification that we are familiar now, because there are so many other things that are also sweet. So sweet need not be sugar. Sweet can be any sugar or anything else also. So therefore that converse has to work. Converse means sugar has to be sweet, but that doesn't apply. Therefore it's not a sufficient qualification to define sugar. So Swarupa Lakshanam is that which is mathematically precise. It is necessary and sufficient qualification. Is there an example like that? We can give a relative example. Like for example, water is H2O is water. When we say water is H2O, it is Swarupam or intrinsic structure of water. So H2O is water and water is H2O. So it becomes both the direct and converse statements have to be valid for it to be necessary and sufficient. That is called Swarupa Lakshanam. And Sat, Chit, Ananda or H2O is not an attribute of water. Attribute of water, we study properties, it's colorless, odorless, tasteless, blah blah blah. All that properties that we study in chemistry, those are attributes of water. But that which really defines water is necessary and sufficient is H2O only. It can be in the form of water, it can be form of a steam, or it can form ice. That is water, and that is what the Swarupa Lakshanam. For Brahman, what is Swarupa Lakshanam? It says Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam Brahma. Therefore, these are not attributes of Brahman. They are essential quality, essential nature of Brahman. It's called Swabhavam. And in the Swabhavam, this is Swarupam. Swarupam comes because it is Anantatvam, it is infinite. That's what Shankara says, Anantatva. Therefore it is Swarupa Lakshanam. Because infinite cannot have attributes, and these are they are essential at the nature of the Brahman itself. Expressing in the form of Sat, in the inert things, in the form of Chit, Sat and Chit, in the subtle bodies, in the form of Sat, Chit and Ananda, when in the subtle form of where existence and consciousness, plus when there is a mind is quiet, Ananda also, that we discussed. So the Satchidananda is the intrinsic nature of Brahman, which means that the converse has to be agreed. That means if there is existence, then it has to be Brahman. If it is anything, it exists, then that existence part has to come from Brahman. And therefore the scripture says, from existence alone everything is created. We cannot see, perceive, interact, transact with that which is non-existent. And therefore anything that exists has to be there. Therefore the Brahman is the supporter of all things that are universe in the form of existence, and that which cannot be perceived but which has to be understood by Vedantic, because Vedanta says existence alone was there, and that existence is expressed in form. If you go to Google and ask what is existence, there are a lot of theories on that. But Vedanta says existence is nothing but Brahman, infinite, which is nothing but consciousness, which is nothing but the essential reality also. That has to be understood. So Siddha Prajnaha is the one, Yatihi, I am Yatihi. He is the one who is reveling himself all the time in the understanding that Aham Brahmasmi, and I am total happiness itself. And the mind almost has dissolved into the nature that means mind understood all the time. Therefore there is an akhanda akara vritti now in the mind where I am. That means I am the totality, I am the one who pervades everything. That is, I am without any qualifications, and that which is without qualifications is only Brahman. Therefore I am that Brahman. Aham taya spurati hrut swayam. That's what Bhagavan Ramana says. Spurati, it spontaneously raises in the mind or in the heart. It says hrut swayam. Hrut is heart. Heart means in the very core of one's personality. Heart is not the physical heart we are talking about. Heart of the problem or heart of the individual is the very essence of the individual, where I am. Essentially, I am is the essence of individual, because everybody starts saying, I am this, I am this, I am this. Without I am, he cannot transact. So that is the essence of individual, where I am now is different from previous I am. In the previous I am identified with this which is objects, whereas here there is no identification with anything, because anything that is only qualified object which is finite, and I am is nothing but infinite, is a recognition of that fact spontaneously raises. We'll go into more into details of who is the Jiivanmkukta in the next talk. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.